Hi everyone. So since my last Instagram stories when I went camping near Plymouth, I've had a lot of people contact me and ask about my cooking system. A lot of people don't seem to know about the Trangia cooking system, so I thought I might take just a couple of minutes to show you how that works, what components are involved with it, and how the whole thing kind of goes together. Alright, so firstly, what I want to just talk about is I don't have any one single cooking system that I use. It will really depend on the kind of traveling that I'm doing, the kind of camping that I'm doing, and the kind of food I'm going to cook as to what I'm going to cook on. So I have the Trangia set. I also have this really compact little set, which is just a couple of pots and things, and we'll get into that in a second. So I have that as well, and I also have a fire pit, which is just a small box, and I'll show you that in a minute. And that is if I want to cook over open flame, which I may well do later on because I'm a little bit short on fuel for the Trangia, so we'll have to see how we go. But let's crack this open and I'll show you what's involved with that, and then I'll show you how I go between a few different cooking systems. Right, so first things first, the Trangia set is an all-in-one set. So your pots, your pans, kettle, your cooking preference, whether that's gas or spirit, is all contained within the one box. I keep it in this bag, which you can get as an additional extra. I don't believe Trangias come with this bag. I bought this as an extra. It's only a couple of quid. And the reason I do that is because I keep a few other things in here as well. Generally speaking, when I'm cooking on the Trangia, I'm doing proper food. So fresh ingredients cut up and cooked properly. So I keep my utensils in there. This is my bamboo set of knife, fork, spoon, that sort of thing. I also keep in here, this is my chopping board and my knives. You may have already seen this. It's contained within this handy little tea towel. So it has a wooden chopping board, which is really handy. And then it has a set of 3 knives in here as well. The large one is a big serrated knife. The middle one is the one I use the most. It's just a sharp, straight blade with a corkscrew in the back as well. And then the bottom one is a much smaller knife, more of a peeler. So it's mainly used for peeling and coring and things like that. I don't use this very much, but it's handy to keep it all together. I also keep a plate in with my cooked stuff, and I'll take this wherever I go, no matter what I'm doing. And then this is the Trangia itself. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Alright, so this is the Trangia, and this is how it breaks down. So the top is not only a top for the pots that you might use, it is also a frying pan, and I use that quite a lot, especially for breakfast. It's really handy. And then inside you have a kettle, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail in a minute. And then have 2 pots, a small one and a larger one. And then this is where the beauty of the Trangia really comes into its own. So the bottom is a windshield, all right, and your cooker, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail in just a second, because there's a few different ways that you can have this set up. Your cooking method sits in this base, and then this windshield goes over the top and protects the flame, no matter what flame that is, from the elements. And then you have these arms here, which you can either have down if you're using one of the pots or the kettle. Oops. There you go. Or if you lift them up, you can pop the frying pan on top and use that. Okay, so do all your cooking here. Now, speaking about this base, mainly if I'm using the full Trangia setup, in the kettle is where you'll keep your cooker, and it's also where you'll keep your pot handle. Okay. And then in this little pouch, what I have is the optional extra, which is the gas burner. So connects to a standard small canister of gas. All right, and you feed that through the top, out the little loop here, and then that sits in the top, or in the base, I should say. All right, and then your windshield goes over the top, and then that gas, I'll give you a look at it, that gas flame is protected from the wind, and you can pretty much cook in any conditions. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic system. I love it. I think it's great, and it's one of my favourite ways of cooking when I'm camping. I can take this out, and what Trangia's come with as standard is actually a little methylated stove, and I keep that with my little backpacking or hiking cook set. So I'll just open this up and you can see what this is. So on the outside I have a stand, and you'll see how that works in a minute. If we open this up, this is a really simple set, and this is if I'm, just going to be eating rehydrated meals or boiling water or something like this. This is a little Euro hike set, has a cup on the top which doubles as the lid, and then it has a larger kind of pot, and I'll boil water in that and then do pasta foods or whatever. I keep a tea towel in there. And then this is the other option for the Trangia. All this is a little metal pot. Take that off, unscrew the top. You fill that with methylated spirit. I don't know if you can see that or not. There you go. So you fill that with methylated spirit. The flame comes out of these holes in the top. And you probably already guessed it, if you're using this Trangia setup, that basically just lives in there. Right, and then same thing, windshield goes on and it protects it, and then you can cook away without the wind affecting the flame. So that's really handy. Methylated spirit will burn in a lot of different conditions, cold, wind, especially with the windshield, gives it a lot of protection. So that's a pretty cool little set. Then you use this lid to snuff it out, and you keep it stored with this lid which has a seal. I'd ever recommend leaving fuel in there, but if you're leaving it set up on a campsite, it's maybe not too bad. I wouldn't leave fuel in here and then go backpacking. But yeah, that's a look at the Trangia, and that's how it works. If you've got any questions about it, hit me up. More than happy to talk about any of this stuff. And yeah, hope you got some interest out of that. I'll leave a link to everything down below.